Sorry, sorry about that. This is part two now. Yeah, I found out. I found out an old screenshots. Well, kind of broke down on me in this one. It cost me error code in this point, 500. Yeah, so sorry about that. So, but get back to NSL. So, you only know the Hard Rock series is almost complete. Nissan series cannot hold Super Bowls because it's too small. At the end, I see why, and it just can't hold anything. Let's get into the other stuff within the NSL, so they end up where it is. Yeah, first up is, well, Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs, as you know, they have a situation too. And it is an open air stadium, but they have issues at the end of some sort. Like the Royals, they plan to move the stadium of some sort, despite it's legendary. So they plan a bit for multi-dollar renovation but add a roof of some sort, but the problem is the stadium just cannot fit a roof on. So this is kind of the issue too. And also this stadium cannot even host the Super Bowl either way because it's just too intense. So that's kind of an issue there for the Chiefs. Too. Also, before the end of move on, there's also other plans too. Chicago Bears situation is pretty much dead for the new stadium there. Yeah, I mean, I'll go for Cleveland and Washington D.C. later on. So it's gonna be just, yeah. I think you want now that they end up Chicago Bears will probably be relocate or some sort. If not, they hang on to Arlington Heights, and then for the construction, they probably has to be between two options. How did they build a stadium at Arlington Heights, or it's a possibility that they end up hosted in gonna be in a relocate city. So here we go. So far, yeah, for the Carolina Panthers. For Bank of America City, they plan to do the multi-million-dollar renovation of the stadium for upgrades of some sort for Carolina Panthers. The problem is it's so far unannounced there, so for a multi-million-dollar renovation. Let's see why. Also, the problem is it comes later on in Major Soccer, but I mentioned right now. Another location is the Stadium of the Future, code name for Jacksonville Jaguars renovation. So, and I'm just still playing this one, but so far they just don't know that they playing a good deal yet for the within for the Jaguars. Anyway, one thing I just also noticing right now for is the New England Patriots. Yeah, Giraffe Field might needs a little bit of renovation at this point. I would say, like, how? They got the new scoreboard and the recent renovations already, but the problem is, they might need a little bit more for Giraffe Stadium. Home for the Patriots, and I'm pretty sure that they need some in and a very huge and improved adjustments within not only the Patriots itself, but also for everything else. So it's the next sense for the Patriots. So yeah. Yeah, so so far and I heard stories about Levi's Stadium that they might try to get a roof in San Francisco, but the problem is that's probably be rejected. So, right there, then, yeah, the problem is, there's plans to put a roof for Levi's Stadium, but this probability is unlikely to come to fruition. So, anyway. So, since San Francisco can't get their renovation, the one stadium that needs renovation real bad is Seattle Seahawks Stadium, known as Lemons Field. Yeah, Lemons Field needs some multi-million dollar renovation. They end up of some sort. Under the Seahawks stadium and they can host a Super Bowl. The problem is, it's because of the environment. Now, it's the way it is. But for sure. Well, hold on a minute for that one. Yeah, next one is the MT Bank Stadium for the Baltimore Ravens. Is that an open air stadium of some sort? Baltimore has the potential to host the Super Bowl. Problem is, just need a roof. So for an MT Bank Stadium, it is a good bit of stadium, but they should need a roof in Baltimore. So it's potential there. If not, they think Baltimore might end in need a new stadium. So that's gonna be a potential new saga for that. Should find out for sure. And also, mostly by the truth. Yeah, Houston, Texas, and in the NRK state or in the NRG stadium is my bad. Yeah, and I found out that stadium is technically really outdated to the core. It's kind of not built. They end up standing in it for many more years. The seats are wonky. They have a wall ejecting right into it. In some sort of roof. It's often falling apart, and even worse, it's right next to a recently abandoned Astrodome. It's like an eyesore for everyone that they try to watch games and so. So you literally can't see for the Astrodome because it's blocked out by the stands or the walls itself, which is some sort. The problem is, it's just either look for drone image of some sort. It's like an eyesore on television. Oh yeah, don't even forget, the Astrodome might have a multi-billion-dollar mega project going in, and they end up allowed to revive Astrodome in 2028. This might bring more tourism within Astrodome, and then it might help with NRG Stadium for the potential renovation there in the end of some sort. So if the Astrodome gets a huge amount of renovations, this might reconnect with the NRG Stadium renovation too for both sides. It allowed to the end of continuous gameplay in Houston for the forever as they would. So Houston will not get a new stadium for sure. Instead, here's figures what's going on. Yep. And the Astrodome might have a multi-billion-dollar renovation, like over $100 billion renovation coming up as a mega project. This might bring life for the Astrodome, which it brings new life for the NRG Stadium. So yeah, huge renovation. So it's gonna be multi-billion-dollar to the end of renovation to possibly connect the Astrodome with the NRG Stadium with the same mega project. So they try to relive the huge tourism is occasion of some sort. So after Houston might host the Super Bowl once more, using the Astrodome is the mega project campaign as the backdrop for the host future Super Bowls, and see why. You can see why. And you got Cincinnati Bengals plan to get a renovation, but it's been held out by the state of Ohio, so the administration office, so it's been held back at this point for the Cincinnati Bengals at the Paycor Stadium. Yeah, they planning to get a renovation there, so it's in the times that they're trying to get a roof on it. Problem is, it's been held back by the Ohio State government's office, and then I think it's because it gets held to sleep over there for a long amount of time. So yeah, so that's still unwaiting for that. And finally, before they get the final two, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yeah, despite him having a multi of some sort, that kind of proves in the end of Raymond James Stadium and for the Buccaneers in this stadium that the end cannot even hold something real big at this point in layman terms. So that means any chance of Tampa Bay hosting the Super Bowl goes right out the window. It's just this seems right out of days it's broken down and even Malton exposed to the Raymond James main failure to go through anyway. So yeah, so we end up it's between Raymond James Stadium needs a huge amount of renovation, or at the end of Tampa Bay gets a new NFL stadium in the future. So that's the way it is. And now time for a little bit new issues to the end of related. So there's some new stadium projects that's going on. First is the Commanders. The new Commanders Stadium in Washington D.C. is going to end up planning to build right on the former site on the old RFK Stadium, which so far is in demolition mode. As you know, it's supposed to be like a 65,000 capacity stadium there. The issue is, how did they get hotel like luxury stuff and some sort of buildings, hotels, and so on surrounded by it? The only big eyesore for the new Commander Stadium is, well, technically it's right next door to an abandoned arena. I'm really trying to take this in the juice right now. They're living right next door to an abandoned arena. And I will show you right now what I'm saying right now. Here it is, his RFK Stadium area. To plan the new Commander's new stadium. If we look very closely, yep, here it is. Here's what I was talking about. They could build a lot of hotels and stuff, but the problem is, this DC Armory. DC Armory, as you know, it's the only arena there, but it's also hosted so many stuff. It's gonna be a huge issue there too. A lot, and see why. I would say, it doesn't look that bad compared to people say, but, well, don't let the nuts fool you, because I found out DC Armory is also abandoned. I'll be able to show you right now what I mean. For DC Armory. Here it is. Yeah. So, hold on. I'm ready to show you something right now that I'm trying to look for. Hold on 1 minute. I'm going to show you the picture of what DC Armory. The E-way. Yes, one was. Yeah, like, yes, DC Armory has been abandoned for years, and it became a huge eyesore for everyone there. This is the way it is, for sure. Yeah, because of that. Yeah, this could be issues that are related towards building shit around because of the abandoned DC Armory. So yeah. Yeah, so until I find that, to this end up, don't know about Washington D.C. So they had a plan for this. Oh no, my bad. It's not the it's the Washington D.C. Army still holding events. My bad. It's the Washington Coliseum. Is abandoned. It's became a parking lot. So my bad. So yeah, not upon this the D.C. Armory is just giving so many eyesore there. Arena that they end up blocking them off for it is. And from the Washington Coliseum, it is hold on. Oh, the Washington Coliseum is right up the road, which is right out of the view from the front. Yeah, here it is. It's right up the road, my bad. So, so, yeah, never mind what I said about the abandoned arena. The Suso, that's right up the road. So, my bad. So, I found now, the problem is the DC Army is still going to be isolated because then we have a new stadium next to the very old arena. So, it's still hosting events. So, for NCAA, so some sort way it is for sure. Yeah, so I might plan to do an NCAA update to the end of later on in this video, so it's streaming at this point anyway. It's some sort. Yeah, so it's the way it is. Yeah, so this one for sure. Is a fun one for sure. So for sure the way it's the way it is. Although the NFL does also host international games and others, but they were more not included inside this stadium update. Some sort of code thing too. For sure, because also I did mention about UFL. It's at the end of the fun for sure. UFL it's like a spring football league. They end up still holding on strong there for sure. They end up they play a certain amount of stadiums, so they end up for sure. Yeah, so and I might mention this in the NCAA thing later on. It's right after the later on in this stream anyway, because it makes sense. It's a fun one for sure. It's just it is a no anyway. So the UFL will not even mention at all. Next up is to head towards Soccer World, for which is soccer and the USL. So yep, this will take a while. So get your popcorn ready. This is gonna be a wild one. Yep, you only know all already for issues relating towards. So all the way got the Miami Freedom Park is almost complete. It also recently stores and NYCFCs have been moving straight forward with the new stadium right next to City Field in there too. Chicago Fire only announced they did finally got the approved plans to build a new Chicago Fire stadium right on the 78th spot, taking the spot away from the White Sox. Needs the White Sox with no stadium planned anymore because an old new ballpark planned for Chicago White Sox, unless they end up use like a VTB Stadium Arena plan. The White Sox Stadium they end up for the 78th sleet is now dead. So which means the Chicago White Sox will not do the ballpark in the same spot as the Chicago Fire. So for some sort, despite the renderings are already out already. So to show you the new, yeah, here this. The new renderings has already been released already, and it doesn't show on Wikipedia though. That's just really disappointing. But in the yeah, here's the thing: notice the 78 to the end of this potential new home for Chicago Fire. I was really hoping that it end up use both baseball stadium, soccer stadium, connector itself right on that same 78 spot. The problem is though, if we get the founder for the can see Chicago doesn't still have much room for both soccer stadium and baseball stadium connect to each other without having have to be, well, squashed. So this kind of makes sense in the way it is. So because of that, the White Sox has no new stadium projects, and they're literally playing in the low attended, outdated stadium in Chicago. So the problem is, this might risk the White Sox to the to the new expand like a relocation issue because of this, unless the Chicago Fire agrees to squash the soccer stadium with the baseball stadium connected into one area on the same 78 near Chicago, so they make a fit both baseball and soccer apart in each other, but connected to make a next door to each other type thing, like the same as a BTB plan. So for the Chicago Fire and the Chicago White Sox baseball team, it's gonna be like the only better plan they can do for on the Sunday there. So that's kind of hoping to see what's likely gonna happen. They plan to both grounds in early 2026, but they might delay to mid 2026 because of the situation related to the Chicago White Sox. So I'm still waiting to see what's gonna be for that for sure. So taking some things out of credit there, so they talk about other things that I think they really needed renovations, or if not a new stadium thing. First is Wild Salt Lake. Wild Salt Lake needs renovations badly because the location in it right next to the technically in Salt Lake City for American First Field. American First Field needs some renovations really badly because it's open air and also Salt Lake City does snow a lot. If you know from early Salt Lake City games in Major Soccer, they have an issue is, well, it's just all that snow coming out from the Rocky Mountains, and they end up just dump up to feet of snow and around this area. This is an issue there, so of some sort. I know the soccer is kind of often in the for the open air, but the problem is it's a lot of snow an issue. And this I don't think Salt Lake City has a field warmer, so in this one a lot of heating systems. So they kind of say is, while Salt Lake needs a little bit of stadium renovation, so they end up allow. So they not only try to keep the people's cool with the roof overhang in their area, similar to in Anaheim and others, but they end up the need to a little bit of make a roof overhang for all areas of the stadium to the allowed, so they end up they try to keep people warm in the case of snowstorms like this. It's in Salt Lake City, which is the issue there. So there's some sort. If not, Wild Salt Lake and I might have to go for the new soccer stadium and the new stadium planning for Wild Salt Lake in the future. So to see why. Another one is Charlotte FC's issue. Like the Carolina Panthers, is Charlotte FC shares the same stadium as the Panthers. I don't know, Bank of America Stadium good for a multi-billion-dollar renovation coming up in the future. For Charlotte FC, sharing it with the NSL stadium is a horrible idea. So, which it kind of gives a lot of clues so that I'm going to end up saying right now for sure. So, yeah, there's some sort. Yeah, so today they give you a clue at this point. So Charlotte FC might need a new stadium. So no matter what, they're gonna say one now. They really need a new stadium for Charlotte FC. Despite the Carolina Panthers have a multi-million to billion-dollar renovation, so coming in, Charlotte FC just doesn't fit very well. And not only in the ancient stadium there, but also they need a new stadium for them anyway for Charlotte FC. I don't know. I really do not know where, but it's gonna be questionable there. Questionables. My bad. I just seeing this one now for sure. BC Place, home for the Whitecaps. Some sort play at BC Place of some sort. BC Place, I think, will not capable of hosting them. The Whitecaps, in my end, I might need a new soccer stadium in the future. So the problem is though, BC Place is kind of starting to starting worn out. It's like I said one now. BC Place furthest yeah, here's the it was built to be similar as the Metrodome, where there's just to be a bubble roof situation. But the problem is the Whitecaps that they just enter in and they can say as one now it's interesting. That doesn't look kind of unique for us anymore, so we maybe held out on it. After the 2010 Winter Olympics, they really changed the roof of some sort. And now it kind of problem is now the BC place feels like uh like a tinsel membrane by top of the with the steel structure. Looks like a horrible mess. So ever since then, and now because of that, they'll be playing with the outdated dome stadium. And the problem is since Mitri Soccer is now moving more open air, the Whitecaps is just feels like playing in like almost like a semi-dome is kind of a horrible idea for them. It feels like freaking seeing pictures seen out of Romania and Poland, and it kind of feels a little less fair as a smooth story for them. Although they also hosted the World Cup too, but just kind of fit for the World Cup for midget soccer that just doesn't seem pretty fitting for the Whitecaps. So because of that, I think the Whitecaps so they end up might need a brand new stadium for them in the future to are capable of that. Because especially since what Vancouver does not snow, so we might need an open air stadium for Vancouver there. Because like I said, Vancouver just never snowed there a lot. Seems similar as Seattle. So see why. Speaking of Seattle, then we'll tell about them later. So see why. For sure. Next up is Colorado Rapids at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Dick's Sporting Goods Park is needs horrible amount of renovation. You talk about Denver, Colorado, an area where snows starts in in August. Yes, you say it all right. It snows as early as mid to late September. It goes as early as late August. That means it snows in the summer in Colorado because of them and because it's right next to the mountain there. Yeah, it snows very early in the season. The problem is that this is going to affect my into the playoff games and even the early start in the early start because Denver, Colorado, it just usually never stops snowing until probably quite close to May. So if not early June. So which means so you're just exposing your fans right into the cold and only one side stands and they kept warm. That is a really bad sign. So the end of between Colorado Rapids and the end, they might need a new stadium to try to keep the fans warm. Similar to Mount Salt Lake, it's really mostly they need to like a roofing on to protect the fans. At the end up for sure, but the problem is though, is they only have one roof there. At least Mount Salt Lake has both sides, but it didn't cover the all ant to the other ants. Colorado Rapids only have one side, and this is kind of a huge disaster because it does get cold in Colorado, so it's kind of an issue there to the end of which Colorado Rapids and need to technically reconsider to the head to go for renovation at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, if not a new stadium construction there. So it makes sense too. So it makes sense. For sure, there's a handle looking off of there. Next up is the Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders and Lemons Field home of the Seahawks. Lemons Field the year before the Seahawks needs some renovation too in this area because this just kind of feels a little outdated for the NSL's part now. For the Seattle Seahawks. But they end up for sure. For the Sounders, they have Memorial Stadium right up the road, and it was since right next to the Seattle Kraken's arena. Yeah, if they really had to fix up Memorial Stadium and they just go for a million or billion dollar renovation to Memorial Stadium in Seattle, they can reintroduce the Sounders into this area and get out of the Seahawks Stadium, which they in the held there for many years. The issue though with this transfership though is is uh is probably the move, especially since Memorial Stadium has AstroTurf and other type of turfs compared to the FIFA 1's grass. So they might have to change out the turfs and grass and during the renovation, and then just allow that around. So it's kind of makes sense the way it is from the for sure.